Hello, everybody. Hi again. Um, Today we're going to be talking about. Hi, I'm sorry if it's your first time here. I'm Tom. Um, this is Outreach. Today we're going to be talking about nature and the environment, um, all sorts of things like that. So, you know, springtime words, learning a load of new vocabulary for things you might see in nature. And so if you're watching on YouTube after we've gone live, then you might want to skip ahead 5 minutes. So I'm going to wait now just for a few more people to join, and then we can get cracking. So if you want to skip sort of 5 minutes ahead, then you'll not be too far off. But yeah, so we're going to be learning about springtime and nature and the environment and all sorts of vocabulary words that you can use for that. So hope you're all having a nice week so far. Nice few days, enjoying the weather, enjoying the springtime weather. Hope you've been learning lots of English this week, doing all sorts of fun things, all sorts. Like I say, enjoying the weather, the nice, lovely, sunny weather, or at least I hope it is nice and sunny wherever you guys are. So yeah, like I said, today we're going to be talking about springtime words, nature, the environment, some really great tools you can use for that, and we'll give you talking about that. So if you're ever going for a walk in nature or something, or just going for a daily walk, then some things you can be looking out for. Again, just wait for a few minutes until hopefully a couple more people join, and then we can get cracking. If you're watching this on YouTube, like I say, you can skip forward a few minutes. But if you want to sit and watch me blather on for 5 minutes while I wait for people, then you're more than welcome to, of course. Or should have thought of a little game to do. Anyway, never mind. Oh, hello. If anyone's just joined us, YouTube is not just. Sorry, I'm having the odd Wi-Fi issue at the moment. Living in the countryside, the internet's not great out here. So if it's jerky and a bit buffery, then put it in the chat, and I'll try and sort it out, because I'm getting all sorts of error notifications and the screen's not quite working. But Concurrent views one. So yeah, if you're watching live, just please feel free to put something in the chat, say hello. Like I said, today we're going to be talking about nature and the environment and all sorts of vocabulary to do with that, and talking about some environmental issues and stuff like that. So hope looking forward to that. Hope that'll be useful for you. Yeah, like I say, just at the moment, if it's not streaming properly, I think it's probably on me, because like I say, my Wi-Fi is not really the best at the moment. So do say, and I'll try and sort it out if possible. Just give it a couple more minutes, see if a couple more people come and join us. Just see if I can work out these settings. Yeah, like I say, hope you're all feeling well this week. And yeah, excited to learn some great new vocabulary, whether you're watching live or maybe some point this week or what I will do actually, on the uploaded video. Said last week, if anyone had any feedback or ideas, to put in the comments. So I'll just see if there's been any. There wasn't any yesterday when I checked, but there might be some now. So I'll just double check for you all. Yeah, it's about 5 past now, so I'll start in a minute. If you've skipped forward from the very start, from watching on the recorded video, then I'll just start in a moment. I'm just going to see if there's any feedback on last week's lesson. I hope I put some emojis in the the title. I hope they come up all right. It's just some nature to do with words. See if I've got any comments on last week's video. Just any suggestions. It'll load, like I say. No, I'm not sure I can see any. No problem. So perfect. So it's about 5 past now. Again, I'll maybe wait 1 or 2 minutes more for if you're here on the recorded video. So again, if you maybe want to skip forward a couple more minutes, then just in case, on the live video that everyone that's going to be here doesn't miss out on anything. So yeah, if you just want to be thinking about some nature words, really. So if you can think of any words to do with the springtime, what does the springtime season make you think of? I mean, we've come into the end of spring now. We're moving into summer, which is lovely, of course. But like I say, so we've had most of spring now to be thinking about springtime words. So if you can think of any, then just jot them down. If you've got a little notebook, that'd be brilliant, because that's what we're going to be talking about today. Carrying on sort of from last week, because last week, I don't know if any of you watched then, but I was talking a bit about poetry and stuff, and we went through a bit of Wordsworth, who was a romantic poet. He belonged to the Romantic movement, and one thing they talked a lot about was nature, so that's what inspired me today. Oh, hello, I see we've got another viewer. If you want to put hello in the chat or whatever, again, it'd be great if we had a bit of interaction. Always helps me out, and means I can sort of tailor what I'm doing for you guys a bit more. But anyway, so like I said, last week we were talking about poetry, specifically a romantic poet, which was a movement of poets where they were really concerned with nature and the environment and the things they saw around them. And so that's kind of what gave me the inspiration for today when we're going to be talking about springtime words. We're going to be talking about some environmental issues and excellent connection. So hopefully the Wi-Fi is working out all right. Like I say, if you're watching, just put hello in the chat. I see it's 8 minutes past now, so I'll get started now. Okie doke. So don't know if you remember, like I say, last week we were talking about poetry, and I challenged you all to maybe try and write a haiku, which, if you remember, was a poem with the structure of syllables, where the first line had 5 syllables, the second line had 7 syllables, and the third line had 5 syllables. Again, if you don't remember, syllables is the amount of sounds, basically, in a word. So YouTube is 2, nature is 2, spring is 1, springtime is 2. So I think I've managed to actually work the technology a bit better today, because we've had a bit of trouble with it over the past couple of weeks. But I might be wrong in thinking we have a little thing there of a little PowerPoint I've been able to make. So hopefully I'll just be able to narrow that down. I've got it all set up perfectly before, so I don't know if I've moved it. So this, I don't know if you can all see, that is actually a little poem I wrote myself just now. Again, like I was saying, you don't need to think too deeply about it. It's all about just expressing sort of what you feel, really. So I'll try and... Sorry, I hope I'm not being covered by it. If you are watching live, then do feel free to say if everything's working all right and it's all sort of going according to plan. But hopefully you should be able to see a little haiku I wrote there about springtime and nature, which is sort of what we're going to be talking about today, and the environment. And it's got all of the ideas that we talked about last week, so metaphors and similes. So outside my window, 5 syllables, outside my window, leaves are dancing in the breeze. Okay, so that's a metaphor, sort of, because the leaves aren't, so I suppose, necessarily dancing Oh, I see we've got a new viewer again. Don't know if you're just rejoining or, like I say, do feel free to say hello. If you were here last week, tuned in, then you'll remember that I challenge you all to write a short poem over the course of the week, and this is the one I wrote. So, outside my window, leaves are dancing in the breeze. That's a metaphor because the leaves aren't necessarily dancing. I beam like the sun. Now, beam is kind of a colloquial expression, which is something that people say that's not necessarily everyone. Beam like the sun. So, comparing myself to the sun and saying, beam, I've got a big smile on my face, basically. So, so that's my little poem. If any of you wrote one this week and you want to put it in the chat or not, or if it's just for your own personal pleasure, then that's fine. But that's my one, and I hope actually I'm not much of a poet, but I hope that shows that anyone can just do it. Only takes a minute, and it would be a great way to try and challenge your English. So if you're looking for new different words to use, or whatever, new vocabulary, new ideas, similes, metaphors, all sorts of amazing stuff. Writing one of those a day, thinking of new words, all these great things. It's going to be a really great way to challenge your English. Anyway, that was last week's topic. Today, we are going to be talking about springtime words. So I've got some pictures for you to look at. And if you know the word, then shout it out or write it down or whatever. I know you're all sat on your own, so it's not the same as it would be if we were all together. But if you want to put it in the chat or whatever, that I'll put up the picture and I'll give you a moment to think about what the word might be. And then at the end, we're going to look at a few pictures and see if we can use all our new vocabulary. So I hope for everyone there's a new word out there for everyone. Like I said, I've tried to do something for a few different sort of levels, and we're going to be getting a bit more tricky as the class gets on. So if you're finding everything too easy, either just put in the chat or whatever, or just stick around, because I promise it'll get a bit more tough coming up to the end when we're talking about some environmental issues. So the first picture I've got there is a picture of a leaf. That's the word, obviously growing trees, plants, whatever, and that's the first nature word. Okay, so the second picture I've got there is a picture of. I'll let you just have a guess, have a think, see if you can think about it. That's a picture of some grass or a lawn. Oh, sorry, I'll write in there. So the first one was leaf, just for spellings. Grass or lawn. So grass obviously is just any sort of grass like that, but a lawn, you'd normally have it maybe outside your house, and it tends to be sort of a bit more well looked after. So that's just the difference between those two words. Okay, so in that picture, it's the thing that he's planting. Okay, so if you know what that word is, then I'll give you a second. But if not, it is seed. Okay, so that's what you plant in the ground. No data. Do hope your Wi-Fi is not conked out. Wi-Fi on should be. I'll just keep plodding on. Oh, well, like I say, just if you're watching this live, then do put in the chat if it's still working. But anyway, so that picture that I've got up now, planting them in the ground. What's going to grow from those is a plant or a flower or whatever. They're called seeds. See, I've put that down in the chat there. The next picture I've put up, that's a pretty easy one. If you know that word, that's a tree. If you can think of any different types of trees, then what types of trees, any types of trees, so you can think of the ones that pop into my mind. You might get an oak tree, and in the autumn you get acorns from those. You might get a sycamore tree. Anyway, going off on a tangent, but there's all sorts of different types of trees. I'm not necessarily sure what that particular example is, but that is just a tree. Okie doke. So this is a picture of some plants. Okay. This just kind of refers to anything really that grows in the ground. So or in soil or anything that grows. So but often when you say plant, you might think of a potted plant, like the example is there. Okie doke. And this is a bit more of an uncommon one. I'm not sure if you all know this one. I hope this is new to a few of you. This is, if you know it, just shout out or write it down or whatever. These are called roots. So every plant has these, and they're the things that grow downwards into the ground, so that the tree or the plant or whatever can get all sorts of nutrients, which is the word for sort of what for plant food or whatever, and what they use to get water, but they're called roots. Okie doke. Don't know if anyone you know that one. And these are flowers. Sorry, I didn't give you a chance to guess there. But yeah, that's what they are. So these are a bit different to plants, because I feel like a plant could be anything really that grows. It could be vegetables or whatever, but flowers specifically are things that just there to sort of look pretty, really. All sorts of different types of flowers. I think in that flowers, even I think in that picture I can see sunflowers. What else? Anyway, again, there's all sorts of different types of flowers. If you know any, that'd be great. I think. If watching live or on YouTube or whatever, you could always put in what your favourite type of flower is, if you know any in English or not. So I think my favourite type of flower, talking about spring, is probably a daffodil, because they show that winter's over and it's springtime. If you want to Google a picture of a daffodil, because I'm not put it in the old presentation, then feel free. There, and I think that's spelled right, and that's a really spring-like flower. But yeah, flower. So these are slightly more simple ones. I'm going to go on to some animals now, and after these first couple of pictures, got the challenge of having the adult version of that animal and also the child version of the animal. So I might do, if you can, I put up the picture of the adult and then you've got to guess the name of the child, or whatever. It's up to you guys watching at home what you do. But so anyway, I've not got child pictures of these, but these are obviously bees. They're really important for making all the flowers grow. All the vegetables, really, really important creatures. And the next one is a squirrel. That's actually a red squirrel. You don't see so many of those in this country anymore, unfortunately, because at one point they brought over grey squirrels, who kind of took over. But anyway, going off on a tangent again, it's not really that important. But that is a squirrel. If you didn't know that one. So now we get onto the ones with the pictures of the adult one first, and then the next picture will be of the baby one. Okay, so this picture, don't know if you recognise it, but that word for that is a duck. It's a very common creature over here. You see them swimming about in ponds, but can any of you guess what the name of a young child duck would be? Okay, I'll give you a second to guess. I'll show you the picture. Cute, isn't it? The word for that is actually a duckling. Okay, simple as that. Duckling. There's a lot of animals you'll find actually where, for the child version, the baby version, the second word is the second part of the word, the suffix is ling. If any of you are watching live, I'm not sure how many there is, and want to know a bit more about prefixes and suffixes, then just give me a thumbs up or whatever. But I'll just carry on as normal now, and that can maybe be a topic for another time if any of you feel like that'd be a good idea. Okay, so the next one. So that is a picture of, do any of you know it before I say it? That is a picture of a swan. Now, the name for the baby one of these is really tricky. I'd be really surprised if any of you knew it. And this is a great word to show people talking about nature. If you want to surprise people with a word you know, so I'll put a picture of a baby swan and give you a second to guess, but I'm not sure any of you get it. The baby swan is called a cygnet. Okay, which is a bit of a rogue one, but there we are. Okay, okay, moving on to the next one. So that is a goose. Okay. Now, I don't know if any of you know this one again, but this is another example of where the baby version has ling at the end, but it's a bit more tricky, this one, because it's not gooseling. It actually loses one of the O's and goes to gosling, and that's a picture of a gosling there. If any of you got that one, if you did, then well done. That's quite a tricky one. Okie doke. So here we are. So if any of you know what this is, okie doke, it is a rabbit. Okay. Do any of you know what the child version of this is? Give you a second to guess. No, that you would call a young rabbit a bunny rabbit. I'm not sure if I explained actually why I was doing this this one with the baby and adult animal. Basically, like I said, the theme would be sort of springtime, and in the spring obviously is when a lot of baby animals were born. So all around at the moment, whenever you go to a farm or whatever, there's all sorts of baby animals, and just everywhere. That's what something there is to see everywhere around you. So so that's why I'm doing this round. So anyway, so the next one is, so the adult version is a sheep. Sheep. Don't know if you know, that's a really common one. See them all around near me whenever I'm going for a walk. Lots of those around me, so that's nice. So anyone know what the baby version of a sheep is? It is a lamb. Okay, so that's a little picture of a lamb there. Okay, next animal. If any of you, I don't know if you all live around Newcastle or whatever, wherever you come from, but a lot of the time in summer and even in spring, actually, in Lees's Park, you'll see some of these, and they're called the Lees's cows. Singular of that would be cow. Okay, and any guesses as to what the young version of that is? It is a calf. Okay. Again, I'm not sure if anyone's watching live or if you're watching it on YouTube later. Like I say, I'll be checking the comments on the YouTube video before next week's lesson. So if this is going a bit slowly for you or not challenging enough, like I said, there's going to be some stuff that's a bit more challenging at the end. I'm just trying to go some great vocabulary for you to use in the first half, but if it's going a bit too slowly or whatever, then do either put in the live chat now, feel free to do that, or put it in the YouTube comments. That would be great. Okay, so next word. So that is, don't know if any of you know, that is chicken. Lay eggs, brilliant. And the baby version of that, if any of you know, is called a chick. Okie doke. So, where are we? If any of you know what this one's called, this is called a pig, and the baby version of that, if any of you know, is called a piglet. Okay. Right, now we get to sort of the main challenge. That's why I've been putting all the new words in the chat. I'm pretty confident you can see this in the YouTube video when it gets uploaded, the chat, but all the new words, and any if you knew already, or I'm going to give a few more words out. I've got a couple of springtime scenes. What's the word? It's escaped me. Springtime landscapes is the word I was looking for. Landscape. So that's like a picture. If you're a painter, you could be a portrait painter. So that's someone who paints pictures of people, or you can be a landscape painter, who paints pictures of sort of environments. So this is a landscape, a springtime landscape. So I'm just going to give you a second, and I'd like you to think of 5 words, maybe with some of the words we had at the start, or some of your own words. If you've got them, try and think of the most complex words you can think of, and write them down for me, and then I'll give you a minute to just have a really deep look and see if you can think of all sorts of words that could be seen in this picture. And then in a minute I will go through a few that I could think of that are in the picture. So some of the words that we've already had, and some maybe new ones for you as well. Okay, so I'll give you a moment to just have a look over that. Looks nice, doesn't it? Not sure where it'd be. I wonder if that's the Alps, maybe France or Switzerland or somewhere. Yeah, it looks very luscious. Okie doke, so don't know if you've had a chance to have a look. Okie doke, so 5 words that you can see in that picture. Well, some of the ones that we've had already, you can certainly see leaves, you can certainly see some flowers, you can certainly see, trees, whatever. But then some more complex words that you can maybe think of. Obviously, there's mountains in the background, snow-peaked mountains, you could say, which means that there's snow on top of them. I'm not sure if that's a creature in the background, or is it just in the lake? No, I think it's just in the lake. Reflection, that'd be a good word you could say. So when you look in the mirror, or if you can see something in another surface. So in this example, you can see the mountains in the lake. You could say that is a reflection. That's a great word, isn't it? Reflection. What else can you see? All sorts of different flowers. I tell you what, that want another example of a flower that's just come to mind now. That might be a good one for you to use. That thing there, right at the bottom sort of right, is called a. So that there is called a dandelion. And if you take those and you can blow on the top, and then the seeds fly everywhere, and that's a way that they spread the seeds and sort of go everywhere. So that's dandelion, and that's something you might see a lot of if you're you're going for a walk as me. So I've got another one of these springtime landscapes. This is found one taken in Yorkshire, which is where I'm from, which is a county in England. And I just put that up there. And like I say, again, I'll give you a minute just to have a really deep look at the picture and see if you can find any words, if you can think of any new words, if it, any of the words that we've already had today. I'll just give you a minute to have a look over it and just have a think about it. Okay. Like I say, if you are watching this after the fact on YouTube rather than on the live stream, so I'll just mute that. Very rude of me. Do not disturb. Then do put in any comments if this is going too slowly, too quickly, whatever. If you've got any tips, suggestions, anything you'd like me to cover, then do feel free. The more comments, feedback, whatever I get from you guys, the better I can make these for you. I'm just doing my best at the moment, but I don't know if you find them useful, enjoyable, whatever. Okie doke. So 5 words from this picture. So again, like I say, you've got the ones from the lesson itself. So we've got grass, trees, leaves, sheep, lambs. But again, you can look so much more deeply into this landscape itself and see a whole host of other words. So right in the background, I don't know if you can see, on top of the houses, you can see some chimneys, which are things where if you have a fireplace, then you need them for the smoke to go out of. So if you ever see on top of a house with that little tower thing on top and smoke coming out, then that'll be a chimney. Also fields, you can see all sorts of fields in the background, and that's a big patch of land that farmers use to grow things or have cows in or whatever. So they're called fields. What else can I see? Clouds, all sorts. There's so many things you could see in that picture, and again, that's a good idea for any, if you're going for a walk or anything, if you're ever in nature, you could always have a look around and just see if there are any words that come to mind. Okie doke. So that's the end of that section. I hope you enjoyed that. Next, we're going to be talking about some environmental issues. Okay, so like I say, I think what I'd sort of thought with this, I'll minimise the window capture. Okay, so I can go back in normal. Go up close. Right, smashing. So yeah, like I say, what I'd sort of planned with this is the theme was nature and the environment. So like I said, I'd get you to have a look over some really lovely pictures of the environment and think about springtime and nature and stuff. And then in the second half, one really pressing issue at the moment in the world is the environment, and it's really important that we all try to think about the environment, and one way to maybe do that, help you guys do that, is I thought would be to have a think about some environmental issues. So the second half of this lesson, there's going to be 6 main words that I want you to think about, and we're going to go into a bit more depth about, and then there's going to be a little quiz at the end if I have time, because I've rambled on so long about the vocabulary before. Okie doke. So the 6 main words are pollution, deforestation, climate change, renewable energy, and public So I'll give you another minute, just to have a ponder about those words. If you know anything about them, if they make you think of anything, and I mean, if you do know all about them, then absolutely great. But if not, then I'll be explaining them in a moment. But if they do, if you know what recycling is, if you know all about pollution, then just have a think about it for a moment and think if you do anything to help the environment. So, recycling or whatever. Okie doke. I'll give you a minute to think about that, and I'll just go through to the next section. Okie doke. So, what I'm going to do with each of those words, if you knew all about them already, then absolutely brilliant. But if not, I'll give you just a couple of facts, a little sort of story, about each of the words, and then at the end I'm going to give you a little quiz about it. So hopefully you find all sorts of new words in these little stories, and it gives you a new thought about the environment, and if you can know about it and talk about it in English, and it's a really great topic of conversation with people. A lot of people really love to talk about it. I know I often find myself going on about it. Okay, so the first word is pollution. Well, actually, I'll do climate change first, actually. So I've just got a little thing to go here. So climate change, also called global warming, refers to changes in the climate and a rise in the average temperatures on Earth. So this is called. So basically, what climate change is talking about is the Earth getting hotter, and what that means is that in Antarctica and the Arctic, which is at the North and South Pole where all the ice are, basically all of the ice is melting, and the polar bears, for example, have got nowhere to live, and penguins and stuff. Okay, so that's what's happening there. It's mainly caused by an increase in greenhouse gases. Okay, so if you know what greenhouse gases are, then that is... Well, if you know what a greenhouse is, firstly, then that'd be really great. So basically what it is, it's like a glass shed. And if you don't know what a shed is, it's a little wooden sort of hut where you keep tools and whatever. But greenhouse is a glass shed in which it gets really hot inside because it makes it concentrates the sun. And what greenhouse gases do is that they act like a greenhouse for the entire planet. So carbon dioxide and whatever, methane and nitrous oxide get released into the atmosphere, and then the heat from the sun gets trapped inside the atmosphere, which is the kind of gas shell around the Earth, and it makes the Earth gradually hotter, which is known as the greenhouse effect. And it means that basically over the past few years, the Earth is getting hotter, and there's been more extreme weather. So don't know if, again, one thing that was in Newcastle a few months ago, a little while ago, was there was some flooding, and that might be explained because of climate change. So that's the first word. Okie doke. So the second word is deforestation. So if you know what a forest is, that's where a lot of trees grow. So you've got the Amazon rainforest, which is basically just a massive green area, and deforestation is where all of the trees are being cut down. Okay, and why that's bad is it means there's more global warming, because every tree will absorb some of the carbon dioxide that we put out. Okay, so what that means is that basically, like we breathe in air, oxygen, to survive, trees do the same with carbon dioxide, and they release air. So it's the opposite. When we breathe out carbon dioxide. They breathe it in to live. Okay, but a lot of trees, a lot of forests are cut down for wood or burned to clear the land for farming. The burning itself will kick off a lot of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, cause more global warming, and then the fact there's fewer trees means that there's more carbon dioxide in the air as well. Okay, and this is especially tricky because a lot of rainforests, like the Amazon rainforest, like I said about before, there's all sorts of different other ones, grow on soil that's not very good, poor soils. So when they're cut down, the soil's washed away by the rain, hence rainforest, and then the area might turn into a desert, which would mean a lot of animals would lose their homes and become extinct, and there'll be more climate change. So that's obviously not a good thing. Okay, so the next word, so we've done so far climate change and deforestation. The next word is pollution. Okay, so air pollution and climate change are very closely linked. So often in cities, you might notice that there's a lot of cars and they especially produce a lot of carbon dioxide, which means that the air quality in a lot of cities is not very good. Also, so that's air pollution. You also get water pollution, which is when a lot of sort of factories or whatever might put dangerous chemicals into rivers, lakes and oceans, and into the water systems. And also, whenever we chuck away plastic bottles or whatever, then they can break down into really tiny bits of plastic that get into the water and are really poisonous for all the fish. And if we drink it as well, then it's not very good for us. So that word is pollution. So you get water and air pollution, the two ones there. Okay, so they were a bit not that fun to think about, but the next really, really fun one, much more positive, is recycling. So I'm sure all of you have got different bins, okay? So you've got the regular bin, and I'm sure you've got one for recycling as well. So glass bottles, cardboard, whatever. And basically what recycling does, it takes all the rubbish that can be recycled, and it makes it so it can be used again. So, for example, Coke plastic bottles, at least 50% of the plastic from there is recycled. So that's taken from old plastic bottles. So every time you recycle anything, it's going back into something else, and then it's saving more plastic having to be made or whatever. So recycling is a really great thing you can do to contribute to the environment. It's a really great word, recycling, really important one to remember. About 60% of rubbish from homes and factories contains materials that could be recycled. Okay, recycling saves energy, and crucially, going back to the words from before, talking about countryside and nature, it's really great for that because there's less rubbish going about. Okay, glass, paper, and aluminium cans can all be recycled very easily. Stream going okay? Yep. And yeah. So that's a great thing you can do. Even better than that is doing things and choosing products that use less materials. So instead of like buying a plastic bottle of water, you could always have a reusable bottle, for example. So reusable things are really great for the environment, losing less plastic. But if you've got to use it, then recycling. If that's a new word, then that's a really great word to learn. And like I say, it's a really good talking point to show off all your English, talking about nature and stuff. Okay, another one is renewable energy. Okay, so basically renewable energy is where most of the energy we've used in the past has been from burning coal and oil and stuff. But we're going to run out of those one day, so you might see a lot of people have got solar panels on their roofs, or you might see wind turbines, and these are all sources of renewable energy, and they don't release greenhouse gases, and they will last forever and not cause climate change. So they're a really great thing to use. So they're sustainable, which is a really key word as well. So really great word. Okie doke. And then the final word final phrase, whatever, is public transport. Now, I'm sure a lot of you use it already. The metro in Newcastle is absolutely great. Cars, super expensive and a pain. But also, an added benefit of using public transport is that it's really great for the environment because it kicks off a lot less carbon dioxide and greenhouse gases and whatever than if you were in a car. So every time you use a bus or the metro or whatever, every time you get on it, you can think, brilliant, I'm helping the environment and I'm keeping the countryside and nature, lovely and stopping climate change. So that's a really great thing you can feel good about. So yeah, like I say, if using public transport, you can cut emissions of like greenhouse gases and stuff by about 50%. So that's something, every time you get on a bus or the metro or whatever, you can always feel good about yourself. So that's a really great thing. Feel like you're doing good for the planet. Okay, so now I've got a bit of a quiz just to finish things off. Because I'm not sure my Wi-Fi is holding up that well. So hopefully it's still working for you all. But I've been having some problems with it. So anyway, going off on a tangent. So based on the descriptions that I've just gone through, if you're watching this on YouTube, you could always go back to when I was talking about them, or if you are watching it live, if there is anyone, feel free to put any questions or whatever in the chat if I've not been clear enough. So question 1, what is the main cause of global warming? Out of the new words. Okay. So, I mean, basically pollution, deforestation, they're two big ones. So global warming, that's what a lot of those are caused by, creating carbon dioxide and whatever, and cutting down the trees, and it's making global warming happen, climate change. Okay. So what problems can fertilizer and pesticides cause? So again, I'm not sure I actually talked about that, but when I was talking about water pollution, that's another thing. So when farmers use some of these chemicals to make their plants grow better, then they can get into the water and stuff and create water pollution. So that's another word there. What is the greenhouse effect? Okay, so I'll give you a few seconds to think about that. Okay, so the greenhouse effect is when carbon dioxide and all these other gases from pollution get trapped in the atmosphere and are making the world get hotter, basically. So that's global warming. How do rainforests help to control global warming is the next question. So I'll give you a few seconds to think about that. Okay, so what rainforests do, like I say, there's two main things that they do. So one, they absorb the carbon dioxide. Trees are great because that's how they breathe, basically, is by taking in the carbon dioxide. And also, in cutting them down, a lot of them get burnt, which itself releases carbon dioxide. So that's the main things that rainforests do. Okay, so what is more effective than recycling? Okay, that's the final question. Bless me, I do apologise. What is more effective than recycling? Okay, so the answer to that one, like I was saying before, is using, things that use less plastic and maybe using reusable water bottles and stuff like that. So that's a really great thing you can do. There's all sorts of more words about the environment and stuff that are really great. I could talk about it for a lot longer, and it's a really great topic of discussion to talk about with your friends or whatever, or test out your English. I do hope that's potentially been useful for you. I mean, again, like I say, I will be checking the comments on this video before next week's lesson. And if you didn't think it was useful, then feel free to say. Next week I might try and maybe do a lesson that's more maybe practical. Okay, so doing vocabulary. I mean, past couple of weeks has been poetry and nature and the environment. So not necessarily stuff you could use for job interviews or whatever. But like I say, my theme for these lessons is trying to just take your English up to the next level by introducing you to new vocabulary and maybe new topics. And you can explore those on your own, and maybe do something a bit different to what you might be used to with doing, the more standard doing stuff for job interviews or work or whatever. Just stuff that's really going to expand your knowledge of English. So that was my idea with these topics. But I mean, if you want me to do stuff that's more maybe practical, then do feel free to tell me. But equally, if you've enjoyed the lesson or if you feel like you've learned a new word or some new ideas or new topics or whatever, then feel free, because I really enjoy doing these lessons, and I'd love to know if they're helpful for you guys. So anyway, so I think I'll leave it about there. I think, like I say, my internet connection's not necessarily the best at the moment, so I don't want to push my luck, and I think I've covered about everything. So my challenge for this week for you all, to leave you with, is okay. So if you ever, next time you go outside, if you just walk into the shops, keep an eye out for things to do with nature. So insects, you might see bees, maybe some ants, even whatever, trees, flowers, anything that you can see. And just try and learn maybe a fact about a type of flower or something, or a fact about the environment as well. Okay, so I'll leave you on that. I hope you've enjoyed today's lesson. Hope you've learned something new. And like I say, if you've got any comments, questions, queries, I will check the chat before next week on the comments on YouTube before next week. So please do let me know. Okay, well, bye now. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you. Bye.